Well, good morning. This is our first YouTube video, so I apologize in advance for any mistakes made on it. It's the end of May down here in South Georgia, and it's 9 o'clock in the morning and it's already pushing about 85, 87 degrees. So it's going to be another planet crematorium out there. Like I said, end of May, turkey's long over, deer's even longer over, so we're looking at other stuff to keep ourselves busy. I thought I would do a video. I've been having some problems with one of my feeders, a tripod feeder. I had gotten this feeder from Billy last fall when he sold the farm. It's an old Kenco feeder. It holds about 200 pounds of corn, but the problem was it had the old analog dispensing system on it. You remember the ones where you would have this big round thing, and it had 3 dispensers in it that were made out of just plastic flappers, and those all kind of disintegrated over time. Plus the timing system was there. You remember there was a clock face and you stuck pins in it and whatnot like that. So anyway, to convert it over, I wanted to put one of these Moultries from one of my 5-gallon pail hangers. So I was lucky enough to catch Adam on a slow day down at the water jet, and he cut me out a plate that would go into the bottom of this with corresponding holes for attachment and for the dispenser. I love these little Moultries, but the problem was these had always been hanging from a tree limb with a single strand of wire coming down, which pretty much would keep the coons, really slowed the coons down and kept the squirrels back to some effect. And they weren't chewing on this thing anywhere near as much as they are now. You can see the damages that they're doing to this thing all the way around. In some of the video that I've got showing them hanging on it or going at it, coming up these legs to get at it, you'll see like there's one where there's a ringtail literally hanging from this thing by his teeth. So that's got to be dealt with. I don't care if they eat the corn. I don't like them eating the motor. I mean, corn's cheap, but motors cost a little bit more. And like anything that you like, sooner or later they're going to change it, and it's not going to be something you like anymore. So whatever. So I looked on YouTube like everybody else for a remedy. And I mean, just a quick note here, I love YouTube. From a guy that back in the 80s when there was no internet and I had to repair a septic system, I had to go to the local library and get a book that was written in like the 60s on it. Now you can go on there and do brain surgery, but whatever, I digress. Anyway, so I saw a lot of stuff on there, but it all seemed to be based around kits you would buy from people. And being that kind of guy, basically cheap, I wanted to see if I couldn't come up with my own system that would work just as effectively and not cost me anything but a little sweat. So I went back and I looked around the shop and I looked around the house to see what we could find, and I'll show you what I came up with. Okay, so like I said, I was going to take a look around, and there's a lot of stuff out there I think you could use. I think 1/2-gallon milk jugs might work. I think like 2-liter pop bottles, something like that. But instead I came up with these. Matt uses these at work. They've got a vacuum pump oil in them, and he's always going through a lot of them. Comes in a couple different configurations and whatnot, but what I used were the clear ones. Like I said, they came full of hydraulic fluid, so I dumped that, and then had to do a little bit of modifying to them to get them to work for my purpose, but it really wasn't that hard to do. I'll show you right here. But I think these will work out good, because what I'm looking for is enough diameter that the squirrels can't get their hands around it, and I wanted independent ones, not just one long thing, so that they would all turn independent of each other. We will see if that stops the little buggers. I'm betting you it's gonna, but we'll give it a shot and see what happens. I'll show you how I modified them. Okay, so modifying these wasn't really that big of a deal. The outside diameter of the tripod legs was 1 1/4, so I used a 1 3/8 hole saw, marked them and drilled them out at both ends, deburred it because I wanted them to spin real nice, used a file and a knife for that. I also cut some 8-inch pieces of 2-inch PVC to put down at the bottoms because I didn't want the bottom ones being in the dirt and messing up the spin of them. So let's install them and then we'll take a look and see what the trail camera tells us about how they work. Well, that's got it. I'm not going to bore you with video of putting these things on here. But take my word for it, it was kind of a pain in the ass. I'm out here by myself and there's about 100 pounds of corn in that thing, but we got it done. It's also hotter than an electric eel in heat out here. It's only like 11:30 in the morning. It's pushing about 97 degrees, but either way, I'm pleased. I think it looks pretty good. They all seem to be moving real well and freely. We'll see what that does as far as deterring them. I hope it works. I don't think you're going to be able to keep everybody out 100% of the time. Particularly the squirrels. They're like Mother Nature. They're kind of persistent. If they want in somewhere, they're going to get there sooner or later. But we shall see what we shall see. In the meantime, I'm going to throw some fresh batteries into the trail cam, get it up and running. We'll get this thing scheduled, throwing out more corn just to get things going, and we'll see what the... Thank you, Benny Hill, for that great theme song. I'm happy. I don't think you can keep everybody out of it all the time, but if I can slow them down, that's what counts. I had a blast doing it. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Shows you a different option. Maybe send your brain going off in a different direction. And that'll about wrap it up for this one. Check back later. We're going to have some stuff coming up on food plots, either growing alfalfa down here in the south, which is a bugger, or sun hemp mixed in with your food plots. For those of you that don't have sun hemp where you are, it is great stuff. The deer will mow the snot out of it, and I like to mix it in with any of my climbing stuff, the peas, whether it be field peas, iron clay, cow peas, whatever, and the winter peas. Not only do the deer like it, but it gives some structure to the climbing plants. We'll have some stuff coming up on fishing, then it'll be deer season, then turkey season, so on and so forth. Right now it's about time to head out for a little fishing, see if we can't get some redfish action, maybe get lucky, catch some trout for dinner, that kind of thing. Either way, check back. It was a lot of fun. Enjoyed it. Later.